and Dad had three kids. You had two, and then in a completely different era and time, you had a third one, much young, significantly younger child. And I was just wondering what it was like preparing for each individual child, because it had to be a different mood in the household, and you and Dad were in different places in your lives from where you were when Lynn was on her way to when I was on my way. So I just always been curious about what that was like.
Well, first of all three were planned pregnancies, whether you believe that or not. um, Lynn was our firstborn, and I had a year of school to finish after we were married. And so I finished that year of school and taught for less than a year and became pregnant, which was fine with us. And in that time, you couldn't teach beyond your third month of your pregnancy in the school system in Milwaukee. So I think I taught altogether for 8 months after my 4 years of education. And Lynn, as you know, was born a month early, much to everyone's surprise. No one more surprised than Dad and I. We had gone to a Job's Daughters ball game that night where Patty was playing on the ball team. It was a hot summer night. We came home. I had a can of Blatz, and within the next 15 minutes, I was in the bathroom and laying on the bed and saying to Cole, to Dad, I think I'm having the baby. He said, no, you can't. We're not going to have the baby until next month. I said, well, I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. Call the doctor. So he called Dr. Schneider, and Dr. Schneider thought, nervous father, first child. He said, okay, how far apart are the pains? And we lived in an apartment that was U-shaped, and the bedroom was on one side of the U, and our telephone was on the other side of the U. So he'd come in and said, the doctor wants to know how far the pains are apart. And I said, I don't think there's very much time between them. But they weren't very strong, but seemed like they kept coming. So then he went back and talked to the doctor on the phone. And the doctor said, well, call me, and I don't know what he told him, but the doctor said, call me when they're 5 minutes apart. So he hung up and came back in the bedroom, and I said, honey, I think they're less than that now. I think I'm having this baby now. You call the doctor, and you tell him that I'm having this baby, and I don't think I can get to the hospital. So Cole said, well, let me see what it looks like, or something like that. And he said, oh my God, I can see the head. And so he went back to the phone, called Dr. Schneider and said, I can see the head. And the doctor said, I'll be right over. Put her in bed, get some diapers and things ready for me, and I'll be there as quick as I can. And he was there, I don't know how, in such a short time. But by that time, I mean, the baby was there, ready to be, Lynn was there, ready to be pulled out. And the doctor came quickly, it seemed like to me, and got Lynn extracted the rest of the way. And it's a good thing he did that, because the cord was wrapped around her neck. And said to Dad, get me some diapers. And we didn't have diapers yet because we weren't expecting the baby for another month. He said, all right, how about some clean dish towels? So he knew where those were. Oh, first, before that, he said, get me some string. So I can hear Cole out in the kitchen opening and closing every drawer, every cabinet. He said, the only string I can think about is the stuff in my office at work. And the doctor said, never mind, get my bag. So he got his bag in, tied the cord. And Lynn went to the hospital along with Dad and me, all of us in an ambulance. So fortunately, things were okay. She was 4 pounds, 8 ounces. At that time, that was considered a preemie, so she went into the premature nursery. And I am the tallest mother on the maternity floor with the smallest baby in the nursery. And I went home in, I don't know, 3 or 4 days. But Lynn had to stay another 10 days until she was over 5 pounds and maintaining that weight. So that was the story. So we were prepared except for diapers. I mean, I think I had had some showers. Then we decided, that we would like our kids fairly close together, and it didn't take very long to be pregnant with Scott. Um, Lynn was only, how old would Lynn have been when I first knew I was pregnant with Scott? That's too hard for me to
Maybe a
figure.
year. Almost a year.
So
Right.
I was busy with this little toddler kid anyway, and fortunately my all three pregnancies were very easy and very normal, as were the deliveries. So we were just excited. You did not know at that time whether you were going to have a boy or a girl. We had hoped for a boy because we had Lynn already. And I had gone to a mother and daughter banquet because it was in May at Ascension Lutheran Church, and went into the bathroom and thought maybe my water had broke, and went out and said to Nana Rybacki, Lynn was with me. I said, I think we'd better go home. And Mom said, are you all right? And I said, yeah, I'm fine, but I just think we'd better go home. So we went home, and Dad and I went to bed, and I woke him up like at 4 in the morning. I said, I think we'd better go to the hospital. So we had arranged with the neighbor to come down from upstairs, I think, to come down and be with Lynn if this happened in the middle of the night. And I had had showers, but again, didn't know what we were expecting, but had plenty of girls' clothes. But when people gave you a shower then, what they did was give you green or yellow after you had one and didn't know what the second one was going to be, because those could be either boy or girl, they figured. So we went to the hospital, and I went from the elevator to the delivery room and delivered Scott in 20 minutes, tops. And I was very upset with the hospital because after I had delivered the baby, they shaved me. And I thought, what do I need that for now? But that was part of the procedure, and so they did that. And Scott was bigger, and we came home, and I think it was 4 days. I was in the hospital for Mother's Day that year with him. And what was the significance of 5'10"? Grandpa Jackson had something about 5'10", but I don't remember what that was. But anyway, it always stuck in my mind that was an easy date to remember. So now there are 4 of us, and we are living in a lower flat with 2 bedrooms, so it was time to look for a place to move to again. So we found a 3-bedroom upper flat in a different part of town, and I'm up there with these 2 little kids, and every time we did anything, neither one of them could do the stairs on their own. Of course, one's an infant, and one, so I'm really hauling up and down a lot of kids. But it was a good place. Then we decided that we wanted more than 2 children, and that pretty soon, we should have the 3rd one, so there wasn't a lot of space in between there. But this time, it took a long time to get pregnant. And 5 years later, after Scott, I finally did get pregnant. And we always thought after a few years, we should have had a 4th one right away, so that there was, because it was like 2 and 1, so there would be, and 3 is never a good combination. So, but we didn't decide that until it was too late. We didn't realize that the age difference would make that much difference in your relationships. So you also were a planned baby, and we were living in this upper flat on North something Street in Milwaukee, and not in Milwaukee, in Indianapolis. We moved to Indianapolis when I was 7 months pregnant with you. And so there we were in a nice new 4-bedroom house on a mud flat. Lynn was in school at the time. Scott was home. And I went to the doctor in the afternoon shortly before your due date. And the doctor said, I think you should go right to the hospital. Your 2 fingers or something dilated. And I said, no, I can't do that. I've got clothes in the washer and dryer. I have to go home and switch those and fold them and do something with the other 2 kids. And I had a neighbor who was going to take them. So we did that and went to the hospital, and you took the longest. I didn't go right from the elevator to the delivery room, but Dad always liked to tell his friends that he never spent any time in the waiting room. I mean, he never did this pacing back and forth in the waiting room. So I think maybe within an hour that we got to the hospital, you must have been born. So that's, kind of the status that we were in our family, and it was all good. You were all healthy and normal, and Lynn turned out to be just fine till she broke her jaw. So, does that satisfy your question?
Mm-hmm.
Good.